Spread the word.
The all-new WMEG Radio.
The Nitelifer Circle of Sanity, radio show.
What you got? What you got? What you got?
This is State of Emergency.
The Night Circle of Sanity, radio show. The Night Circle of Sanity, radio show.
Show me what you got, little mama. Show me what you got, baby. Show me what you got, shawty. Show me what you got, baby. Hands up and wave, wave, wave.
The Night Circle of Sanity, radio.
You want answers? You want answers? You want answers? You want answers? I want the truth! The truth! The truth! You can't handle the truth! Handle the truth! Handle the truth!
The Night Circle of Sanity, radio show.
DJ Rock Nice, or as my car calls you when I have my car call you, DJ Rockness. What up, Maine?
What it be like, son?
Everybody across the airwaves, as you know, the man with the plan and all the equipment that you can stand, sitting over there running this program for me is DJ Rock Nice, the best DJ in this studio, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. No competition.
No competition.
No competition.
Eating competition like squirrels eat nuts.
We don't eat no nuts.
Well, if you don't have a nut allergy, you should be fine.
Okay.
So look, we were gone last week because of Juneteenth. I want to talk about Juneteenth. There's a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about tonight. Everybody, we were gone for a week. I'm not used to being gone for a week. I felt not right, not talking to everybody. And I hope you all missed me as much as I missed all of you. Well, most of all of you. Some of y'all I could miss every day. But if you want to call in and join in on the fun, the phone number is 443-267-6558. Now, only call that number if you want to talk to the Nitelifer Circle of Sanity show, not anybody else's show who you're supposed to be listening to, but you just call in randomly an hour after their show is over. Call in to talk to me, Yale Beverly, your Nitelifer, and let's talk about this Circle of Sanity. Let's talk about the things that are really affecting our lives today and tomorrow, and how our lives were affected yesterday or yesteryear. So again, 443-267-6558. If you are listening to us, watching us on YouTube, Facebook Live under Nitelifer, online network, under my page, Yale Beverly, or under Rock Meg Nation. You can also listen to us on rockmeg1.com. That's ROCMEG, the number 1.com. That number 1 is important.
Very much so.
Trust me, I tried without it.
It ain't gonna happen.
It didn't work.
Nope. Because we're number 1.
But you are number 1.
We're number 1.
I mean, but if you're actually number 1, you don't need to say you're number 1. Everybody knows you're number 1. But you need that 1.
Yeah.
You need that 1. If you want to get to this show on that station through that website, you got to have the 1.
Yeah, gotta have it.
And no K. It can't be ROCK.
No.
It's ROC.
Yeah.
Rock.
Yeah.
Meg.
Meg.
As in Mary.
Yeah.
EG.
Yeah.
1.com. Not org.
Not org.
Not net.
Not net.
Not AU.
Not .gov.
Definitely not gov. Let's not do .gov at all. Let's not do .gov. All right, man. So how was your week? What'd you do for Juneteenth? What'd you do?
I did what all black people should have did.
You slept in?
Definitely. Every minute I could. Every minute I could, man. Listen. I'm talking about the good sleep, like where you're uninterrupted and you got like drool
coming out your face.
Man.
Roll over, realize the pillow's wet, and look around, and then flip the pillow over. Yeah.
I ain't never know you can sleep that good by yourself.
Man, but you know what? You're the hardest working man I know. So you've been burning the midnight oil on both ends and in the middle of the candle.
And
so,
I thought it was over, man. But me and Milton Midget went over my schedule for July.
Mm-hmm.
I am booked every week in July. One weekend I had 3 gigs on a Saturday.
Woo!
The other week, another weekend I had 2 gigs. And the 2 weekends where I only got 1 gig, they're all day gigs.
Well, look, you need to let a brother borrow some of your money. Because I know you're getting paid. Because I know if you got the Mighty Midget Morphin collection agent working for you, you're going to get your money.
Well, let me tell you, man, a little bill collector called KIDS.
Oh.
They do a good job of taking the money.
Yeah.
I make it, they take it.
Well, if you're going to be feeding them and shit, you're going to do that craziness.
I would rather feed them.
They can get out and buy their own food, so let them go get their own food.
Again, I would rather feed them. The things they asking for was killing me. Daddy, I need new brakes for my car. Daddy, I want to party because I just graduated college. Like that's a major accomplishment.
I just know thousands upon thousands of people do it every day. It's like breathing. I don't know what makes it so special. You know what? Let me stop, because let me agree that graduation from a higher learning institution is a good thing. It's a good thing. I have problems.
It's worthy of a party.
It's worthy of all praise because they're going to be in debt for the rest of their lives, paying off things that they now can afford.
So I have to go in debt.
You have to go in debt because you made them. You got to pay for them. This is how it is.
Well, I don't know, man. I might not have been there that night.
Well, I've seen at least one of your children, and only way that child ain't yours is if you had a twin sister that gave birth to a child. And just like our friend Troy Brody can't deny nothing that calls him daddy. They just like him, like he looked like his father. That's some strong genes in that family, just straight strong genes. But again, let me get back. I don't have a problem with people graduating from college having parties. Where I have to start drawing the line is these kindergarten graduations.
Oh my God,
son! I feel so lost in this, Rock. I understand little Shushu has graduated from kindergarten, which you can't not graduate from kindergarten, as far as I know. But when we start doing this, when did we start having graduation parties? Because little Junebug and them graduated from kindergarten.
He didn't eat all his crayons. He didn't knock his milk over.
He broke the graham crackers on the dotted line. Didn't eat paste.
He found the dots to make his letter A.
He can say mommy and daddy.
He can count to 4.
I know a lot of kindergartners who still can't tie their who couldn't tie their shoelaces, but you it's not you get pushed on. You get pushed on the first grade. What are we doing? What are we doing? Make me understand why we got to spend several hundred, if not $1,000, to mom and dad put on their best. They buy a suit that's only going to fit for this one day because the kid going to grow tomorrow. They spend $60 or $70 or $150 on a little suit from a store in a strip mall, so little man can walk across, or little Susie Q can have on little white patent leather shoes. And
they wearing red bottoms.
Oh, they
wearing red bottoms.
Oh,
they ain't wearing no patent leather.
They better go over there to Lexington Market in the parking lot and get them red bottoms where you can get 6 pair for $10. This is just out of control, man. This whole everything is just getting out of control. It's starting to concern me, Rock. It's starting to concern me. Whew. Look,
you wouldn't buy YJ some Gucci's?
Let me tell you a story. When YJ, my mini-me, was 6 years old, and his mother asked me to pick him up from summer camp, day camp, and take him to the store and buy him some cowboy boots. And I said, that's kind of out of my way. I'll go pick him up, but just buy him the cowboy boots yourself. No, just buy him the cowboy boots. And I was talking to my late, dearly departed best buddy, Rodney, and Rodney Fields, God rest his soul. Rodney said, the hell you going to buy some cowboy boots with what you pay in child support? She got the money. Tell her to buy them goddamn cowboy boots. So, interest of full disclosure, at one point, and this was the point, I was paying $1,500 a month in child support.
Wow.
I got good. I got good. I can tell you horror stories upon horror stories. But when I told his mama I'm not going to buy him any cowboy boots, she lost her mind. And I said, then I guess he's not going to have cowboy boots, because with the money you getting, you can buy him a damn horse. I am not spending another nickel to buy him some stuff that you're getting money to buy for him. So you got my dander up. Now that was 19 years ago, and it still hurts. It still hurts. It still hurts. Hurts me to my core, man. Hurts me to my core.
Wow.
Woo, Nelly. But yeah, man. So we're supposed to have a special caller call in tonight, right?
Yes.
Tell us about the young lady who's going to call in, and what's the significance of her call, other than she might want to meet a sophisticated, educated gentleman and me. So
I was about to say, is somebody else coming to the studio today? She's matter of fact, let's do this then. Let her. No one can tell your story better than you, right?
I if you say so.
So let's let her tell her story. What you think?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let's make this happen real quick.
What's her name?
Her name is Monique.
Monique.
Yes, Monique.
Hello?
Don't she sound sexy?
I don't know about that, but she the only person I know answer the phone before the first ring ends. I ain't never. That's I know shut-ins that don't answer the phone that quick. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Monique. Hey, Monique, listen real quick. I'm going to tell you what's going on so you can understand why you got this call, right? Gail wanted me to introduce you and tell your story. I said no one can tell your story better than you. So we decided to call and let you tell your story. You can introduce yourself and tell your story. What you think?
Wait a minute. I couldn't even hear you. You were muffled. What did you say? Somebody wanted you to introduce me to tell a story, to tell my story. That's all I heard.
Yes. The host of the show, his name is Yale Beverly.
Yale Beverly, the nightlifer.
He wanted me to introduce you and tell your story. What I said to him was, no one can tell your story better than you. So therefore, we call you. We're going to allow you to introduce yourself and tell your story.
Okay, but what story are we telling? Are we talking like, I don't want to do bio type introducing stuff like that's awkward to me. Are you talking about my story as far as this event is concerned?
So Monique, you have a business, an opportunity, something's coming up. This is your elevator speech. You have an elevator speech prepared for any time someone wants to ask you something about what you do?
Well, see, no. You have to know, but see, because I wear a whole bunch of different hats. I got a 9 to 5, I got a firm. So I don't mind introducing me, but I don't really want to do an elevator pitch for any of my 9 million jobs that I have.
No.
That makes sense.
Yes, that makes perfect good sense. Because I'm not trying to have you advertise your 9 to 5 or do your elevator pitch about some of the things that you do that aren't coming up or important and don't involve rock. I don't think you really want anybody to know about your life other than what involves rock. And I'm sure Rock doesn't want to introduce you to talk about anything else but what you got coming up and how important it is for everyone that's listening.
Right.
So as my intro song says,
we did 2 radio shows on Saturday. One was the Clay Station and one was something else. And both of those ended up being like an hour, but that was also because, well, first of all, they ran my bio, and I'm like, why did you need that long of a bio? But anyway, in addition to that, there was like 4 or 5 people on there, and we were just having a conversation about why they're involved as well. So what made them want to be a part of this? And then we also started just talking about why this whole subject matter is important. So kind of went on a few different angles, but both of those interviews, actually the first one, the radio folks was like, okay, your hour's up, your hour's just talking. So, which is always a good sign because it was very conversational. And then the second one, folks were calling in as well.
Okay.
So I'll do whatever you guys
careful.
want me to
Be
do.
careful. You got your toe in the deep end. Be careful. You got to be concise.
Yeah, maybe I might not say that, but yeah.
Right. Well, anyway, first of all, welcome to the Nitelifer Circle of Sanity. Your name is Nicole.
Monique.
I'm sorry, Monique. I got the Mighty Midget Morphin bill collector on my screen up here on Rock's site, and your name. I apologize. So, Monique, tell everybody who you are and why Rock is helping you out.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you fine.
Are we live?
Yes.
No, we're recording this for posterity and the people from the year 3000.
You all are funny. You didn't tell me we were ready. I thought we were just shooting the breeze amongst friends.
Oh no, this memory.
Huh?
Never mind, Monique. You'll never get it.
She that young?
Well, she's younger than us.
Well, shit, man. There's never mind. Go ahead.
She probably don't even know what a cassette tape is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Let alone an 8-track or reel to reel.
Hey, Monique, do you know what a cassette is?
Well, I bet you I'm older than both of y'all.
We got that one. We really did got that one, Monique.
Monique, who was the first president you remember? Not that you voted for, but you have memory of. What's the first president you have memory of?
That I have memory of would probably be
Barack.
was it Ford or Carter? One, I don't know which one came first, but those are the ones that I
See, the fact that she don't know that Ford was before Carter shows her age.
But it's just one, it's just one administration before Carter, because Ford was the president before Carter. But Monique, I remember Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Well, I mean, I remember him. I don't remember him being president, but I remember him.
Right. I remember when he was president. So there goes that argument about you being older than anybody in the station. But as the older people say, bless your little heart.
That's funny. Who was actually president when I was born? It was probably Nixon was probably president when I was born.
Okay. Well, you're not. You're not old.
Yeah, she's not old.
But you're not a young youngster, but you are, yeah, you're young. So
either Nixon or Johnson probably was president when I was born. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway.
Yes. We'll figure out what year you were born. You tell us and I'll tell you what president was. But we ain't gonna get in the lady's business asking her age.
Not on live radio.
Not on live radio. We'll call back and do the Oh, girl,
Yeah.
please.
I don't know why y'all didn't already put me on blast on live radio by not telling me we were on live radio when we were just shooting the breeze. So you might as well go ahead and ask me my age.
You never ask a woman her age.
Unless she gives you a license.
Oh, okay.
So, Monique,
Right.
what year were you born?
69.
You just missed Johnson's administration.
Yeah.
Nixon was president.
And I have to apologize, Monique. You are older than some person in this studio.
I am what?
You're older than half of the people that's in the studio.
Hey, it's all good.
Yeah. So, Monique, tell us a little bit about this coming up event on Saturday.
So this event coming up on Saturday has traveled around to cities across the country, and it is now Baltimore's turn. It's the Baltimore Black Homeownership Forum.
Wow.
And what is
So
this?
it's the perfect opportunity between Juneteenth and Homeownership Month. This is the perfect opportunity to do something like this.
You said Juneteenth and hormones on what?
I said between the celebration of Juneteenth and June is Home Ownership Month.
Oh, I thought you said
It's
hormones do a jump month. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So between the two, it's the perfect time to have this event because we pretty much focus on, and everybody, of course, is welcome. We would never tell anybody they can't come, but we're really trying to focus on our community specifically, and just try to change the trajectory of Black homeownership, because no matter what city you go in, Blacks are usually the lowest when it comes to the rate of home ownership, even among other minority groups. And so we're going to talk about the things that can help them get to that goal. And it doesn't even matter if it's, 2 years down the line, 6 months down the line. That's not the important factor, because one of the things we want to make sure is that we're also creating sustainable home ownership. So whatever an individual's journey is, that's their journey. We want to make sure they have the resources and tools to get what they need. We want to make sure they find out Baltimore and Maryland has so much money available. And I'm not local, so even some of the information that I've learned and people I've talked to that have gotten $80,000 to $100,000 in grant dollars. So we want to make sure people know what's out there. And we also want to make sure they know just philosophically why this is important. So, and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a DJ there that you all are familiar with, and we're gonna give away some cash prizes and appliances to offer some lunch. So it's gonna be a great time. It has gone over really well with the other cities.
Okay, so where is the event being held?
It's going to be held at Coppin State University. So it'll be held at Coppin in their Todd's Ballroom.
Okay.
The Todd's Ballroom. So Coppin, I'm sure everyone there knows, but that's 2500 West North Avenue.
Yes,
And the
Coppin.
doors open at 9:30 a.m. and the event starts at 10. But we want everybody to get in there, talk to some of the resource folks, network, and just get ready to get started at 10 a.m.
Okay, so what is the name of the event?
It's the Baltimore Black Homeownership Forum, and it's a totally free event. We do ask people to go to Eventbrite and register because, one, we want to make sure that we're prepared when we serve lunch. Two, that's how you win prizes. We pull names and things from our registration list. So it's important that folks also go to Eventbrite. All they do is put in Baltimore Black Homeownership, and it'll come right up and they can get registered, no charge.
And it starts at 10 a.m. and goes until?
So doors open at 9:30 and it'll end about 2, but the latter part of the program will also give them time to visit some of the resource tables and get additional information. So it'll end about 2.
Okay, at Coppin, the home of the Fighting Cockroaches. So
What?
yeah, I'm a Morgan man, so we Morgan Bears don't deal with those Coppin cockroaches over by Mondawmin. But
Okay.
but Coppin State at the which ballroom again?
TAWES, TAWES Center Ballroom.
Okay. And this will give people information and access to resources to help find funding and what you need to do to become a first-time homeowner or anytime homeowner.
Anytime homeowner. So let me say, so one thing I say is that the goal is to educate, inform, and strategize. And we want, first of all, we want the attendees to understand the why behind homeownership. You know, a lot of folks are talking about homeownership and generational wealth. And so we want them to understand that. What does that really mean? And what are the numbers in Baltimore and Maryland and nationwide when it comes to Black homeownership? So we'll get data from the State of Housing in Black America. And again, this is important because it sets the stage. It's the why. Like, why do I want to do this? Or why should this at least be in my forethought? And then, yes, they're going to receive information about preparing for the homeownership journey and the tools and techniques to ensure it. So it is about getting the money, but honestly, we don't start there because we also want people to start getting the mindset right. You know, if you want to go on this journey and you want to be sustainable, there are certain things that you have to start doing. So I talk to people who left the event and they say, you know what, I had never really thought about this before. And I'm glad I came, and I'll say, what's your next step? What's your first step? And sometimes their next step is like, well, first of all, I need to go home and I need to have a conversation with my significant other, because if we're really serious about this, there's some things we got to do different. We got to kind of change our mindset and our spending. So yes, they will definitely get information about their funding that's out there, the finances, financial resources that are available, but they're going to get so much more than that. They're going to get from top to bottom. What should I be thinking about if I even want to consider that? And then a lot of times, I will say 15 to 20% of the people there are already homeowners. So they may want to know, what do I need to think about if I want to get my next home? Or what do I want to do should I think about if I want to leverage the equity that I have? Or are there any programs out there for me for repair? So again, the majority of the people will be either first-time home buyers, or maybe they have owned a home in the past and they're no longer owning and they want to know how to get back in the game. But we also have things there available for people who are already home buyers. So we want all of our folks to come out.
Okay. And so will there be guest speakers?
Yes, there will be people there from around the city. There will be people there from PNC Bank, who is a sponsor. We have 3 other local host organizations. So Inland Consulting, which is my firm, in partnership with Coppin State, in partnership with NHS Baltimore, which is National Housing Services of Baltimore. They will have a lot of information there for you. Information from PNC, information from the Baltimore Metropolitan Chapter, 11 Chapter Delta Sigma Theta. We'll have people there from State Farm. We'll have people there from Live Baltimore. So yeah, this will be very well rounded. And one thing I tell people is I can guarantee you, no matter what your situation is, you will not leave there without knowing, number one, what's your next step, but number two, being connected to somebody that can help you. I can promise you that there won't be any situation that comes up that someone in that room can assist you on, even if they have to connect you. So that's important, because we need to have, when you're embarking upon this journey, you need to have your team, right? You need to have your team in place that can help you work through the stages of the process and just help you work on whatever your individual situation is. Not the person to the right, not the person to the left. And I also tell people, it doesn't matter if you're, a lot of times we have made up in our mind. I'm not ready, my credit isn't right. And not that might not be true, but what is it that you need to be doing right now?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so let's talk a little bit about your organization. You mentioned the name of your organization. What is the organization and how did you get it started? And tell us a little bit about that.
So Inland Consulting. So I got out of law school probably 30 years ago, and I have always been in the real estate sector, primarily in the real estate title space, worked with a lot of firms. So most of my career, I've been in some facet of real estate, title, that facet. Inland Consulting, though, is also focused mainly on the advocacy piece. So I do a lot of teaching, training, moderating, speaking for consumers, for real estate trade association, for banks. I'm a huge proponent of advocating, but also teaching and training. So there are a lot of different events that MWINS will be a part of, but they will always typically fall somewhere in the training, advocating, events, space as it relates to this particular industry. So it's, when you're passionate about something, it doesn't even feel like, a quote unquote job for you. It's just something that you're really driven toward doing and making a difference. So again, whether it's on the legislative side, advocating for certain bills that I think will help our folks increase homeownership, whether it's working directly with the consumer, which is what this event is. It's a consumer facing event. It's getting out into the community saying, how can we meet you where you are? Okay, when would you like to be in a home? Let's see what you need to do to get there. Let's help you. Sometimes we're even in a situation where we are helping those maintain things that they've gotten. I've been living in my grandmother's house and I don't know what to do with it, or I can't afford the taxes. So there are just various situations that we encounter specifically as a people in this space. And sometimes we just don't know who to turn to, and especially someone who doesn't have a stake in it. Someone who's, I'm not the lender, I'm not the out-of-state investor trying to get the house from you. So a lot of times we just need those trusted resources and allies.
Well, that's awesome. So when did you start your organization?
So MWINS Consulting, so I actually have, MWINS Consulting has been in existence since 2022 doing this specific work. But I have been doing this type of work, speaking, advocating, whatever, since 2000. So it has been a long time in the trenches, but MWINS has been in existence since 2022. And again, all throughout that time, I've also, worked with various title companies, firms, etc. So typically wear multiple hats, but I am just so passionate about educating and helping our people to get this information. Sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. So if there's anything that I know, they always tease me and say, she'll share everything. She'll connect you to people. But, I'm one to believe that we're only going to elevate by lifting each other. So if I know something and it can help you, I'm going to tell you, hey, this is where you go. This is what you do. This is who you talk to. So just love sharing the information, just telling everything I know.
So where are you located?
I am located in Houston, Texas.
Okay, so, and people wanting to get in contact with you, do you have a website that you can promote?
So people can email me if they ever, and like I said, I do events all over. I am not originally a Southerner. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I have lived in Pennsylvania. I'm from Pennsylvania. I've lived in Ohio. Now I am in Houston. But if people want to get in touch with me, they want to do an event, they want to learn how to get in contact with different resources, they just have questions, they can always email info@mwinsconsulting.com. That's INFO at mwinsconsulting.com. And MWINS is simply the first letter of my first name and the first three letters of my last name, Monique Horson. So it's mwinsconsulting.com. And then my number is 281-804-3369. But I need all of your listeners out there, no matter where they are in this scenario right now, first time, second time, third time, no time, to come out on Saturday to Coppin and get this information and, hey, win some money, win some appliances, eat some food, all while having a great time. And so I'll need them to go to Eventbrite, and I will need them to register. And all they have to do is put in Baltimore Black Home Ownership Forum, and they'll go right to the free registration.
Well, I know some people in the Houston area who could really definitely benefit from talking to you about buying a home or home ownership services. So I'll make sure they get that information, and I'm pretty sure they're listening in tonight, so we can get them connected. And I'm not, obviously, since they're in Houston, they will not be able to attend the Coppin event, but on your site, you do list, I would imagine you list dates that you have on your planned out tour for other cities, or is Baltimore the last
Yes,
city?
because someone had asked before, well, how are the cities, mapped out and picked, and why was Baltimore determined? So most of the times the cities are selected by those participating sponsors, and what I've noticed is always based on a need. Number one, a city where, and this would apply because it applies to almost every city in the United States, but a city where the rate of Black home ownership is below their state or national average, which that's not really unicorn. That's a lot of cities.
Mhm.
Two, where specific financial institutions or partners need to increase their numbers in Black home ownership. Again, not a unicorn. So we do know that the need drives where these events will occur, but they will continue to happen, all over the United States. And sometimes people will, be planning their own event and say, hey, will you come in and speak, or will you be on a panel, or will you moderate, just to share some of the information and experience that you have. And literally, when I tell you there is nothing more that I love doing than sharing the information, again, of course, if there's something I don't know or cannot help you with, I will make sure folks are connected to the right folks. So it may be a matter of, hey, I need to, whether it's your credit, whether it's situations that you're in that you need to figure out, we just have to be there and help each other figure out these different situations that they're facing.
Well, I like that. One of the things I heard you say that you said very quickly and went right past was information for people to get grants. And I think there's a misconception out there that the only money you can get for a homeowner, as a homeowner or potential homeowner, is from a loan, and loans and interest rates can scare people, but grants do not have to be repaid, correct?
Yes. And let me tell you something specifically about Baltimore and Maryland that I've learned. Baltimore and Maryland have so much money available in terms of grants. I was just with one of our, I want to make sure I do, give a shout out to, Faith Realty, their Black-owned brokerage that's a sponsor. NHS Baltimore, as I mentioned, is a host. PNC Bank is a host. But when I was working with Sheila, she is from Faith Realty. She actually had a client who had over $100,000 in grants. And, that, she said, again, is not something that is totally unheard of. So, people need to come out, because if nothing else Baltimore and Maryland has is grant money. So we need to come out and find out what may be available, because, hey, we don't know what we don't know sometimes, right?
Absolutely right. A few years ago, I actually worked on a contract. I'm a project manager by trade. I worked on a project for the state of Maryland, and the project was stood up to try to get a handle on all of the grant money that Maryland gets from the federal government, because each individual agency has a very good idea how much grant money they get in and how much grant money they push out. But as a whole, the state does not have a good grasp of those numbers, right? So let's say you said you work with the housing people. Housing may say they get, and I'm just throwing numbers out here to make it easy because, math and I don't really get along. But let's say housing gets $1 million a year from one federal agency and $1 million a year from another agency and $500,000 from a third agency. The state comptroller and governor can tell you, well, we know housing gets $2.5 million a year. but they can't tell you where that money comes from. They have to get to the agency and do an audit trail and find out, all the money that comes in and who it comes from. And we were trying to stand up a project where all that information would be made available to whomever needed to look it up. So without giving the real numbers, mainly because I can't remember them since it was a few years ago, but there are literally billions of dollars that come into the state every year that just never get used because people don't know that money, that grant money, is out there and available.
Yeah, and that is so true. And again, I go all over. One of the other things I do is I am the president for the state of Ohio for the Ohio Realtors Association, and that is a division of the National Association of Real Estate Brokerage, which is the oldest and largest Black real estate trade association. So I do a lot of work in the state of Ohio as well, and work with a lot of consumers, real estate professionals, city and county officials in the state of Ohio. And so like Maryland, there's money available, but I'll tell you, when I started hearing the numbers associated with the state of Maryland and what's available, I was flabbergasted. And so I know there are people that don't know that this money is out there. And so again, that's why I say a lot of people will make a determination and they'll straddle the fence. Oh, do I want to go? I don't want to go because I know I need to do this. You don't have to go with the anticipation that we're expecting you to be ready to move tomorrow. Actually, it's quite the opposite. I don't expect the majority of the people who are looking to buy are ready. But what I do expect is for you to be able to be informed, feel comfortable enough to come out and get the information and start wherever you're at. Like I said about the person earlier, if it's a matter of, I'm not ready to do anything, but I know we got some habits we need to change, some spending we need to look at. So this helps me to know what conversations I need to have when I get back home. That's a start. That's a start in the right direction because you're starting down that trajectory and you're starting to make those plans. And again, I've had people that are college age students. This event is at Coppin in North Carolina. The event was held at Johnson C. Smith and it was during the school year. So you may get college students out and, I don't know if you all have millennial and young adult children, but sometimes they think different and they say, you know what, I don't want to buy a house because I don't want to be strapped down in one city or one place. And I said, okay, that's fair, but owning real estate doesn't mean you have to live in it. So I actually know college students who are entering their senior year and they actually own property and are collecting rent. So there's just different avenues and things to think about. There was a lady in Cleveland that I worked with, and she ended up, two of them actually, they ended up buying their homes the same year they were retiring. All their lives they had lived, had not owned, and they were approaching retirement age and they were purchasing their home. So again, everybody's situation is different. We just need to continue to share information with one another, get this information out there so that we can start, changing the trajectory of homeownership, because there is a stark connection between someone's net worth and whether or not they own property. And so the net worth of a homeowner is so much greater than those who rent for a variety of reasons. And then when we look at the numbers, we want to change that. In Baltimore, for example, as of the last census data that came out in 2022, the Black homeownership rate in Baltimore was below both the national average and the Maryland state average. The white homeownership rate was about 76.3%, but the Black homeownership rate was about 46.2%. That's a 30% gap. So having events like this, sharing this information, helping one another, that's how one way we can begin to change the trajectory. And I'll hear people, they'll say all the time, well, there's this barrier and there's this, and we know that there's redlining in so many ways, and we know all the things that happen. And so there are different forms to address those issues. But in the meantime, I don't want us to use that as a reason that we're not continuing to educate one another and share the information.
Well, I think it's a great program. Sounds like an awesome opportunity for those who don't know what to do to find out what to do, how to do, and where to do. And for those who think they know, to get more information. And for my listeners, again, the audience on the show, the way to reach out is, again, Monique, through Eventbrite, and go to Eventbrite and look for Baltimore.
Yep, Baltimore Black Homeownership Forum. And literally, if they put in Baltimore and Black Homeownership, it's going to come right up. We
Awesome.
need folks to go and register because, again, these events have been, and I'm so happy for our community. They have been so well attended in other areas. And I know Baltimore is going to come out in great numbers to get this information. And then they'll, someone comes out, then they can go and share that information with someone else that they know. So we can continue to get those resources utilized, because as we talked about, the resources that are available in Maryland are just unbelievable.
Well, that's awesome. And I don't know how you got involved in this organization to find DJ Rockness, but I know firsthand that you got the right one.
Yeah, he's going to be there, because now one thing, just because we're going to be at Coppin, we're not going to be sitting in a classroom getting lectured. One thing, I always tell people, we're going to get the information, share the resources, but we're going to have some fun too. So he's going to provide some music for us. And, during the breaks, we might need to jump out and do a hustle or two. So we're going, we're coming out on a Saturday to get this information, but we need to have fun as well.
Right. High
energy. We need to get excited about these type of things.
Exactly.
Get excited about the future, right?
Exactly. You nailed it. You said exactly what I was thinking. With DJ Rock Nice there and other things going on, it doesn't sound like it would be, and it shouldn't be a situation where someone sits and lectures to you all day long till you pass out. You got events going on, things to do, different people in different booths I would expect to talk to and to help you, the consumer, help you, the audience listening, get all the information that you want and more information than you think you need, that you will find out what's available for you to buy a home here in Baltimore and in Maryland.
Yep, we need them. I need you guys to tell everybody, tell your family and your friends. This is, we don't think about celebrating Juneteenth and things in this forum. I was like, but a lot of what the things we celebrate are also about economic mobility, right?
Yes.
So we need to participate in things that are going to also help us change our economic and our financial outlook for ourselves and for our families, and our children and our grandchildren. So, I don't want people to think that this is, I don't want to go out on a Saturday to this boring event. No, this is going to be exciting, and it's going to be productive, and it has the opportunity to be a great start for some and a great continuation for others.
That's awesome. And if the weather holds up like it's been doing, you'll be inside and cool and not sweating like warm butter on the top of a dumpster oven, right?
I've heard, because originally the event was going to be last weekend until I got educated on what AFRAM was, and then I heard it has been scorching hot up there. They tell me I won't know whether I'm in Baltimore or Houston with the way the weather is trending these days.
Yeah. It's been last Saturday. It was actually hot enough to make Jesus sweat in church. It was crazy.
Well, that's pretty hot.
That's pretty hot. Yeah.
So when you guys are on the air between now and Saturday, I need you to keep reminding people to get out there and register for the Black Homeownership Forum.
Well, I'll definitely put it up on all my social media, as well as here on the Nitelifer Circle of Sanity, Nitelifer Online Network, and my personal page. And we look forward to a great turnout, get people interested, get people educated, get people money, get that money so that you can do great things with it. trust and believe there are a lot of benefits to living in an apartment. However, it ain't yours. It ain't
Right.
yours. And if
And you know what? And on that note, what we do not try to do is put people in situations before it's their time. Ultimately, do I think that should be your goal? But let me tell you, it is, I will tell people in a minute, it is not the right time for everybody. And you'll know based on things we discuss when it's the right time for you. Now, what I won't do is sit there and argue about interest rates with you, because I tell people, if you're renting right now, you're paying 100% interest. So we don't need to be talking about whether it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, because if you're renting, it's 100%. That's, rates are going to go up, rates are going to go down. I said, when I bought my first house, it was 10, 12%, something like that, and that was considered a good rate. Those things are out of control. The key is getting something that you can afford, but for folks who are ready, don't let people tell you rates are too high, prices are going up. You're renting. You have 100% interest and no return on your investment. So that's, those are just some of the things that we'll hear and read and don't necessarily know how and if they apply to our own situation. I'll end when I say this. People always say, is it a good time to buy? That is not the question. It is not whether it's a good or bad time to buy. The question is whether it's a good or bad time to buy for you.
Awesome. I like that. It goes along with what I used to say I learned back in the 80s. I'm not perfect, but I'm perfect for you. Can I get a hand clap for Grace Jones? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you for answering the phone before the first ring finished ringing, and being prepared to tell everybody about everything that you're doing and what this program is and how it can help people in our community.
All right. Thank you so much. You guys have a great rest of your week.
Yes,
You
thank
do the same, and we'll see you on Saturday.
All right. Sounds good. I look forward to seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Man, that was great information. That was good, and I'm glad that she connected with you, so you can help connect everyone with her and what she's doing. And I forgot to ask her about the door prizes, because she mentioned that. So I would imagine that at one of the door prizes is they're going to give away a DJ. That's why they have you there. Do you be part of the DJ giveaway?
I don't know about all that.
Well, maybe she got in contact with you because she knows you have a direct line to a bunch of Keebler cookies.
Boy, you trying to get beat.
Ain't nobody scared of no midget.
I understand. I don't want you to be.
Look, if I can hold a bag of cookies above somebody's head and they can't reach it, they're either a child or they're too short for me to worry about. Well, Rock,
Yeah.
let me get into what I'm here for tonight.
Okay. Talk to me.
This is around this time a year ago. Do you remember what was going on?
No.
Nobody does, because our memories have been so shortened by social media these days. Is what happens the next 5 minutes and what happened 5 minutes ago. We don't look back as much as we used to. But 1 year ago was the fiasco of the OceanGate deep water exploration of the Titanic. Remember that?
Yes.
When the rich people went down to look at the boat where a bunch of rich people died, it just disintegrated.
Yes.
It's been a year. That was a quick year. That happened, or a long year, depending on how you look at it. But that was a year ago around this time that some very rich and gullible people fed a bunch of sharks.
Yeah.
America was mesmerized about these people who basically jumped in a bathtub covered with duct tape
and PS5 controller.
and PS5, no Xbox controller. They might have had a chance if they had an Xbox controller, but they got a PS5 controller and went down. The thing didn't have lights on it. This is what I don't understand. It had cameras and no lights. It had very limited controls, and you had to sit on the floor Indian style for several hours to get down to the bottom and look at this ship or the remnants of the ship of the Titanic through video cameras and come up to say you had that experience. It did not have a window. You understand?
Yeah.
What they were looking at in a cramped up bathtub, sitting on the floor, you and I can watch on our computers or our phones today
For free.
for free. $500,000 to go down and die to the bottom of the ocean. And someone said, you know what? This will be the adventure of my lifetime. And it was the adventure of their lifetime. Now, I don't mean to laugh, but there are some people that just do shit that is just stupid beyond belief. And I don't know how you wrap your brain around making this make sense that you're going to do this. First of all, before this, there was no governing body for anybody to check on the certification of this craft. But even if there were, this brilliant, far-sighted man came up with the idea for this submersible sub. It was not rated to go as deep as it was going, and it ended up costing people their very lives. I don't understand why anybody would think this would be a good idea, that this would be a fun thing to do. So you died stupidly. This is worse than bungee jumping off of a bridge into shallow water. This is worse than any stunt Evel Knievel could have pulled. And for those who are younger than 40, Evel Knievel was a daredevil who made his living jumping motorcycles over vehicles and water fountain. He jumped over the fountain at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. He would jump over buses. He was very successful at promoting himself, and he jumped over a lot of things very well, just didn't land all that well all the time. Basically did not have a bone in his body that had not been broken at one point or another. But this is the year anniversary of the explosion of the OceanGate submersible and the ramifications of that. So those of us, just like the young lady was just saying, Monique was just saying, there's a lot of money out there to be had for those of us who aren't born with a silver spoon in our mouths, that we have money that we can waste to kill ourselves over something stupid as jumping into a basically a bathtub with some video cameras on it and going down to the bottom of the ocean and never be seen again. They never recovered the bodies. Apparently, the way I don't even call it a boat, the way the little submersible probably imploded before it exploded, probably shattered their bodies and again fed a lot of sea creatures. So 1 year ago today, I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to talk about that. Also wanted to talk about the NBA. The NBA finally finished their season with the NBA championships won by the Boston Celtics. My entire life, I never rooted for the Boston Celtics. I liked certain players the Celtics had. I was not a Larry Bird fan.
Robert Parrish?
Loved Robert Parrish, the Big Chief. Loved
Reggie
Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I loved him because he was a Baltimore guy.
Okay.
Didn't really love him as a Celtic. Didn't play long enough, unfortunately, for me to have an opinion either way on him as a Celtic. But Bill Russell was always a very important person to me, not just from what he did as a basketball player for the Celtics, but he was a coach for the Celtics at one point. He won championships playing and coaching for the team. One of the most important people in the history of the NBA and in the history of the civil rights movement. But I never rooted for the Celtics until this year. In 2022, when they were playing against the Warriors in the championship, I was Warriors all the way. And the Warriors were stacked with light-skinned brothers like yourself. But Boston is just something about that city, something about the attitude of that city, and that goes for their football team and their baseball team. Their fans make it really hard for me to root for them. But I was rooting for the kid from Duke and his struggle, because the NBA and their marketing machine will find somebody to try to take away from their accomplishments and say, he hasn't done this yet, so he's not good. Now, the standard is now Michael Jordan and will always be from now on Michael Jordan. And we could talk about the argument, who's the better basketball player, Jordan or LeBron. Everybody knows it's Jordan. But give these kids a chance to play and earn their right into the conversation of a Michael Jordan or a Magic Johnson, even a Larry Bird. Winning a championship to get that monkey off your back is hard enough. Then you got to go back and do it again. Allow them the opportunity before you start putting pressure on them to say, oh yeah, they won one championship, but can they do it again? Let it play out. Let these people have their careers. Let them live in the moment and stop comparing everybody to arguably the best basketball player of all time, Jordan. Even though, gotta be real again, Bill Russell, Michael had 6 championships. I believe Russell had 10 or 11 championships. I wish Troy was here because I know he wouldn't know. So I would sound a lot smarter if I had Troy to bounce this off of. If you get a chance over there, look up Bill Russell for me and find out how many championships he had. But I rooted for the Celtics this year. I'm glad they won it. And now can we get on to what's really important in life? The NFL season's about to start, 11. Man. He has 11? 11. Jordan is great. Magic is great. Larry Bird was great.
Get this. He won 11 championships. How many years you think he played in the NBA?
If I'm not mistaken, he played 16 years?
Nope.
How long?
13.
Okay, so there you go. He didn't get a champion. Well, yeah, he didn't get a championship twice. Out of every year he played, he was not a champion twice. You're not going to find that anymore.
No, you're not.
And then people say different game, different body types of players, different skill levels. Yes, all that's true. But if a young Bill Russell was in the NBA today, he would still dominate the way he did when he was a player. 11 championships in 13 years.
Wow.
And then he went on to coach the team. So, and I don't want to make this about, this segment to be about who's a greater basketball player and all, but I do want to bleed that into the city of Boston and the problematic history Boston has with race relations in America. But I will circle back to that because I also want to bring up the Olympic trials are happening right now. The U.S. Olympic trials are happening right now. Have you watched any of it?
No.
You did not see the women's 100-meter dash, 110?
I saw it on social media.
Man, let me tell you something. Do not upset a woman trying out for the Olympics in the 100-meter dash. She will catch you if you jump in your car and try to drive away. All them sisters were fast.
Yeah, I did see that.
But Sha'Carri, man, let me tell you something. These sisters can roll. And then the men's 100 and 200. And they got a 16-year-old brother, 16 years old, putting in work in the Olympic trials. 16. Man, at 16, I couldn't get out of bed faster than this kid can get down the track. I guarantee you, from the moment he was born, he did not have a electronic device in his hand. His parents had him out there using the gifts God gave him and working with him to make sure he could be all he can be. And at 16, he's already one of the fastest people on the planet. Yeah. That's scary, man. That means he can go to, barring injury, let's not wish that on anybody, but at 16, he can go to the next 4 Olympics before he can consider hanging it up. And Olympic Games is every 4 years. So when he's 20, 24, 28, 32, he can still just keep getting better and destroying the competition. My hat's off to him. My hat's off to everybody who qualified for the Olympics and is going to Paris.
So with the whole check 1, check 2, with the whole Sha'Carri Richardson situation, do we forgive her for inhaling?
We need to talk about that, right? Let's talk about that. She failed a drug test for taking a drug that in no way, shape, or form enhanced her performance. Maybe made her relax enough that she could get down there. Because as I told you when I came in tonight, Rock, I messed my shoulder up. I don't know how. My shoulder is really bad. I can't lift my left arm any higher than this, maybe a little bit more now. And you're
not as young as you used to be, so you can't be messing with women 240.
Well, no. I didn't say I can't try, but I'm on a muscle relaxer now, and my head is just as loopy and swimmy. So, and I've never really gotten high. So I don't understand how a substance like cannabis, remember we were educated, we have to call it cannabis because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Cannabis could be a problem for a competition to get disqualified. I don't understand how alcohol, now abuse of alcohol, I can see it, but alcohol is not going to make you run any faster. It'll probably make you more, you'll run crookeder, right? You can probably do an obstacle course faster than anybody because you're already running.
Equilibrium is not going to be right.
Right. But I don't see why they stripped her of her opportunity to go 4 years ago, but she's back with a vengeance this year.
I know they wish they hadn't stripped that. If they'd have let her go, then she'd have got it out of the system.
Right.
Man, listen.
So, look, she was not the first out the block. She was not first at the first
she was the first
split.
The line.
She was at the first split or second split. But you could see when she shifted gears.
Boy, put the turbo on.
Woo! And this is what,
let
me tell you something. This is something that cracks me up every Olympics, because every country has the ability to send their best athletes to these events. So if you got smaller countries that have qualified, let's just say, North Korea can send someone to the Olympics to run against Sha'Carri Richardson. That person might be from a small village somewhere in North Korea, in under a regime that does not treat their citizenry well. But there could be a young lady out there who's the fastest woman in North Korea. She may be legitimate, super fast, But can you imagine you have earned your right to be in the Olympics? You jump in the blocks, the gun goes off, and before you take your first step, Sha'Carri Richardson is crossing the tape. I mean, and then you got to say, well, look, they made it. Yes, they did. But you go and you come in butt naked last to some people who are training for this, that like and have access to the facilities and the coaching that countries like the United States and Germany and Canada and UK and Jamaica. The Jamaican women's track team is always a problem for the United States.
Yeah,
Always.
I agree.
I don't know what's going on in Jamaica, but clearly cannabis usage
It's not the problem.
is not the problem. Unless maybe there's something, maybe I don't know. Maybe we need to have Frederica back on the show and explain why Jamaicans are so fast. Usain Bolt, man, this brother was so fast he could run through the rain and not get wet. It's crazy. But you know, you got smaller countries that send the best they got and they get there and they don't even make the qualifying rounds for the finals. It's a shame, man. But there's nothing like it. There's world championships, yes, but that doesn't even qualify because it's not every country, it's not every event. There are events in the Olympics that just will bring out the best in everybody. And then Rob, there are Olympic sports now that we did as kids that we never would have in a million years thought would have been an Olympic sport.
Right.
They got people on bicycles doing tricks on bicycles to get a gold medal in the Olympics now. They got people
Man,
on.
we got bumps and scratches.
We got scratches and busted up heads because I didn't have a helmet when I rode my bike, right? And as I was saying earlier about Evel Knievel, I thought I could be Evel Knievel and jump my bike over people. I'd get kids to lay down on the ramp in front of the ramp and see how many of them I could jump with my bicycle when I was 13, 14 years old. But those are Olympic sports now. It's crazy. It is. And in the Winter Olympics, there's even more craziness, like snowmobile jumping and flip. It's just, but these people, I got to give them their due. These athletes, some of them are just straight athletes. The most decorated Olympian in the history of the Olympic Games is a Marylander, Michael Phelps. However, Katie Ledecky, another Marylander, she's so fast, man. I seen fish just give her the side eye when she walks down. She goes to the aquarium. Fish just turn their back and like this, man. She can swim through some water, man. She gets in the Olympic trials against people on her level, supposedly. And before they get back to the wall after their turn, she's already getting out the pool, towel drying, doing interviews. Like, it's insane how fast. That's just proper training, proper nutrition, and access to the facilities that are here. So those people in Trinidad and Tobago might actually have a good track team. But you have people who from smaller countries that are giving their all. And what I like to see in the beginning is I always like to watch the opening ceremonies where you see all the countries march in with their athletes. And the United States will come in like 4,700 people deep. And then you'll see the next country will have like 9 people. And, you know, they're doing their best. God bless them. But the Olympics in Paris this summer, next couple of weeks, and I hope I'm wrong about this, but I'm scared, man. Paris has had a lot of issues with terrorism. And I think this would be a really tempting target for somebody, and I pray I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, I hope there's proper facilities to take care of the situation if something starts to come up. But I am old enough to remember the Olympics in Berlin in '72 and how sideways that went. So let's hope, you know. And then we had the Atlanta Olympics with the the man in the woods planting bombs and killing people and maiming people. So I pray for all the athletes that are going to participate, but I celebrate the Olympians that we are sending who have earned the right. Again, let me say that part again, earned the right to be on the Olympic team. They're not on the Olympic team because they were great in college. They're not on the Olympic team in any sport just because they have a following. They're not on the Olympic team because they had to play a sport that has been taken over by a certain group that another group can't stand to have that other group be very successful in. And everybody on the Olympic team has earned their right onto any Olympic team they're playing on, any sport. I don't know if I need to get deeper than that for you to understand what I'm saying, people, but think about it. Nobody's on the Olympic team just because of their name or their social media following. They had to earn it. The greatest Olympic gymnast in the history of gymnastic Olympic competition is about to do her thing one more again.
Who made that big?
Well, I can tell you it ain't. It ain't Mary Lou Retton. God, you know what? I don't know why I said that. God bless you, Mary Lou Retton. Mary Lou Retton looks bad, man. I don't know if people. Oh man, she's had it rough. She's had problems with, I think it was pneumonia. Almost took her out.
Wow.
But to look at her, she looks like she's 65 years old, and she, I think, is 54.
Wow.
She's had it rough. But no. Unfortunately, Gabby Douglas won't make it this year. She was trying to make a comeback and be an Olympic team. She sustained an injury and had to hang it up. But we just got, and the governments do the medal count and us fans do the medal count, but most of those kids, those athletes performing, they're not counting medals outside of the ones that they bring home. And that's important because they're competing against the best and the best. And they don't say, well, we're the United States. We're going to have 40 gold medals to your 10, right? I'm going for my goal and let all that other stuff be what it's going to be. So other big thing coming up this week, I think it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. The Biden-Trump. Oh, look, nope. Let me stop. No, I'm going to do it. The Biden-Trump presidential debate is coming up. This is the crux of what I'm going to talk about tonight that I think you were scared that I was going to upset some people. It's not my desire to upset anybody on this. But I know I'm going to step on some toes, and, frankly, I don't give a shit. America has changed drastically in my lifetime. America has changed drastically in the last 10 years. And it's not for the better in a lot of situations. I mean, we have access to more things and more technology. We're the world leader in so many different things, and marketing will tell you we're the best in the world and everything, but we're not. But America has rolled over and shown the world its ugly underbelly. I'm a big history buff, and I'll watch anything on history that I can get my hands on because I find it fascinating. And I was watching some stuff on history about politics in this country, and I'll go back even before my lifetime. I was born in 62, so go back to the 40s and the 50s and the early 60s, late 60s, 70s, 80s. even the 90s, the first part of the 90s, politics, if you go back all that far, man, you'll see people are still arguing today about the same issues that we're arguing about. They were arguing about back before I was born. I look at it this way. The Republican Party as a whole today, how it's constituted today, people that are Republicans get into politics to find a way to help enrich not only their pockets, but the pockets of the people donating for them. The Democratic Party, people are in politics for the most part, because there are no absolutes. They are interested in politics to try to help everybody. There was a time when the Republican Party was considered the upper class, more intelligent, more educated, more professional group of people. Your doctors, your bankers, your lawyers, your creme de la creme educators, people like that were Republicans because they were the intellectuals, they were the smart people. And the working class was always the Democrats. Somewhere along the line, we lost that. The Democrats, I consider myself a voting Democratic citizen, but I'm talking about politicians. The Democratic Party, the Democratic politicians apparently no longer can be identified by the lower wage, lower income, less intelligent members of society, citizens. It's now a bunch of, still a bunch of those supposedly intelligent people, but the people who live on farms, who depend on the government for help and assistance on some things, they're all Republican leaning now. And it's all because of this. Well, what it really is America elected a black president in 2008. And that twisted some people's brains even more than they're already twisted, that now they will do everything in their power to vote against their best interests, to elect a man who came in after the black man who was president, who was successful, who was popular, who's considered one of the 3 or 5, depending on who you talk to, 3 or 5 greatest presidents America's ever had. They are willing to support, back, fight, get violent over a man who couldn't give 2 shits about them. Because, again, Republican Party is built on helping people of a certain income make more money. In 1976, if a person like Donald Trump was running for president, he would never get out of the basement. He would never get a visit from the people who push political or potential politicians forward. He's now been convicted of 34 felony counts. He's a convict. He's a convicted felon, and he's leading the Republican Party. America has always had some corrupt MFs trying to be president, and some have been president, corrupt to the core. But never before has anyone been convicted of even one felony and been able to be considered the presidential nominee for the Republican or Democratic Party. Just the things that this man has been known for, to be legitimately accused of, would back in the day have him totally disqualified from even running for office. Republicans, Democrats, they play a game. They've been playing a game with us forever. There was a time when the Republican Party was the party of Lincoln, and they stood for more than what they do now. And the Democrats were the party that was not about civil rights, was not about helping Black people, was not about uplifting anybody. And that all switched starting back when John Kennedy was running for president. And he sent a letter to the sheriff of Birmingham to get Martin Luther King out of jail because he was arrested, and they knew, the world knew, people in America knew, his family knew that there was a strong possibility he would never see the light of day again. And John F. Kennedy came out in support of Martin Luther King Jr. to have him released from prison. And Kennedy was at the time running for president. He was not a president at the time. Martin Luther King Jr.'s father was a Republican and had always been a Republican. Around that time, people started to look at the Democratic Party different. And then Lyndon Johnson came along, and Lyndon Johnson flipped the script and was the person pushing civil rights. Man, people sleep on LBJ. LBJ, the Democratic Party needs a LBJ today. And for those who don't know what LBJ stood for and who he was, first of all, I think I told this story at my birthday party. I'm not sure. I've told this so much. When I was little, my mother and I lived with my great grandparents for a few years. My great grandfather insisted that I wear a Lyndon Johnson mask for Halloween. Back then, I was like 4. I hadn't really gotten into my Batman thing that I'm still holding on to today. It was about Superman. I wanted to be Superman. But my great grandfather said he living in this house, he gonna be Lyndon Johnson, and bought me a Lyndon Johnson mask to go trick-or-treating. So I was super Lyndon Johnson, a Superman costume on with the cape and the red and the blue, and a Lyndon Johnson mask trick-or-treating. All up and down Gwynns Falls Parkway. Oh. And in retrospect, sidebar, my great grandfather at the time was probably 67, 68 years old. So he was not that much older than I am now. And there was no choice. I walked out that house with a Lyndon Johnson mask on my face and my little Superman outfit.
And enjoyed every minute of it.
I was embarrassed because if I'm going to be Superman, I'll be Superman, right? I don't be Lyndon Superman. I want Johnson Superman. But yeah, my great grandparents were wonderful people. They took care of us. And my great grandmother lived to be 101 years old, man. So just wonderful people, for real. Just wonderful people. But Lyndon Johnson, get back on track. Lyndon Johnson is the candidate, is the politician that we need in the Democratic Party today. Before he became president, Lyndon Johnson was known to get things done in Congress. He was from Texas. He was hell on fire when he wanted to get something done. He could shake hands with somebody and sweet talk them. He could put somebody in a headlock and convince them. He'd get in somebody's face and threaten them if he needed to, but he got stuff done. And when he became president after John F. Kennedy was assassinated, he decided, with the help of Hubert Humphrey, that civil rights was going to happen in this country. Black people were going to get the rights owed to us as citizens of this country. And he went tooth and nail with his party, the Democratic Party, to change their shit up and vote for what was right. And there were senators and congresspeople who later in life would say, Lyndon Johnson made me change my vote. When the phone rang and someone said it's the president, they would start sweating like a kid who had their hand in the cookie jar when mommy came home. Lyndon Johnson, they said, would talk to somebody and convince them that they needed to get on board or there was going to be trouble. If not for Lyndon Johnson, we would not have had Thurgood Marshall as the first black man to sit on the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, the next black man to sit on the Supreme Court has been some bullshit. And it's America's shame in my mind that they replaced a man like Thurgood Marshall with Justice Thomas. But that's what we did. They had ample opportunity to replace other judges with black men, but no, they only replaced the black man with another black man who, unfortunately, Thurgood Marshall died during the Herbert Walker Bush administration, and that's how we got Clarence Thomas. But Lyndon Johnson said, because he got opposition to his nomination of Thurgood Marshall, he didn't just pick Thurgood Marshall and somebody say, yeah, rubber stamp it. There were people who just refused to have a black man sit on the bench. And Lyndon Johnson said, oh, yeah, he's going to be my Supreme Court nominee, and you will approve him. Lyndon Johnson. So, like, now, right, whenever there's a national disaster, the president shows up eventually or right away or whatever, and is there to show his support for the area that's been affected, whether it be floods, bad storms Trump went to in Puerto Rico, the Deepwater Horizon oil platform in New Orleans with Obama, superstorm that hit New York and New Jersey. Obama went there and pledged and got support for those areas. Eventually, George W. Bush made it down to New Orleans for Katrina. He was eventually in New York after 9/11. But presidents showing up at these sites of disasters and situations like this, Lyndon Johnson was the first one to do that. When the levees broke in, I think it was 1964 in New Orleans, Lyndon Johnson was flown down there, got there in the middle of the night, had a flashlight, got out of a Jeep, went to people's homes, shining flashlights through the streets and said, I'm your president and I'm here to help. Lyndon Johnson said, I want Thurgood Marshall to be the next Supreme Court justice, and he's going to be a black man. And the story is, he told them, when someone walks down the hallway and opens the door to the Supreme Court, I want them to see that N-word sitting there passing judgment on them. He wasn't the most politically correct MF, but he was determined to make sure that things that were supposed to be right were going to be right. He pushed through the civil rights movement, civil rights legislation, so that America today, where we stand today, how we stand today, how you can have this job, this career doing what you do, how I can have the career doing what I do, how our parents could have jobs doing what they did. Lyndon Johnson made sure that we all got a part of America's promise. And we don't have that today. We don't have a politician like that today. We've got, on the Republican side, a man who was a convicted felon and literally a blithering fucking idiot running the Republican Party, and they kowtow to him because he gets money to come in, because he can talk to these people he doesn't give a two shits about to send him money. And he's living off of the coattails in that he was the president after Obama. There is nothing anyone can point to substantially that Donald Trump did for this country, for the entire population of this country when he was president. Yeah, people got tax breaks that amounted to $200 more in their pocket a year, but that's all wiped out. That doesn't happen anymore. Corporations and big businesses got the big tax breaks. He blew the national debt out of proportion. It was already bad, but he made it that much worse. But they want him to be president. And I can always say, and I always have said, but if it had been Obama, but I can tell you right now, if it had been anybody else, nobody else would have been. If Obama have had 1/10 of the smoke around him that Donald John Trump had around him when he was running, Obama would have never risen to the point where he would have been known on the national stage to even get the opportunity to run for president. But I bring all this up because America has changed. Again, we've been fighting the same issues for 50 years. Gun control, the stock market, prices, oil prices, the great oil crisis of the 70s. The reason the speed limit was 55 across the country for years was because Nixon was president, and the idea was to save gas and make a national speed limit of 55 miles an hour as a stopgap, as a hedge against oil prices. Because oil prices were going to reach and surpass $1 a gallon. Actually, $1 a gallon was not that long ago. I think that was during the Clinton administration. But the Democrats do not have a strong man, not a wannabe dictator, but someone that could call the right people to make things work. I love Joe Biden because he decides he wants to work across the aisle, and he's trying his best to do things the right way, the old way, the way it was supposed to be. And he has been vilified and demonized by the right because he's done crazy, obscure shit like set up student loan forgiveness. Because student loans are too much. The money costs too much. To get an education costs too much. So if you've been the benefactor of a student loan and for 10 years or more, you've been faithfully paying your nut, Joe Biden has put in place that your student loan has been forgiven. You can go on about your life and try to be successful. Donald Trump didn't do shit like that. Smoke and mirrors. I'm still waiting to see this wall that he was going to have Mexico pay for. That never happened. But they're voting against their own best interests because this man will say the things that they think he'll say it out loud. And he is so unintelligent, so challenged, that he'll just ramble on for hours at his rallies talking about water coming out of your faucet, your spigot to wash your hair. And they love it. They eat it up because they don't care what he says. He's there. So they're going to send in their $6, $7, $10 a month, $5 a week. That shit adds up across the country. And that's what the Republicans are counting on. That money is not the support, because he has lost by popular vote 2 presidential elections and has lost control of the Senate from people he was endorsing who didn't get elected. But again, they don't care because they want this man who says what they think he says out loud, and he followed a black man into being president of the United States and was anti that black man. It wasn't just that he followed him. He lied about him. He forced this man to produce his birth certificate, yet refused to show his own income tax forms, claiming that Obama didn't deserve to be president because he wasn't an American citizen. And once that was proven, I'm old enough to remember that once that was proven that Obama was born in Hawaii, which is a member of the United States, he had the nerve to say, well, I need to see his college transcripts because I don't believe he could have been president of the law school at Columbia. And Donald Trump has refused to this day to let his college show his college, his scholastic record, his transcripts. And this has created an atmosphere in this country of people who cannot have a serious debate without it becoming either violent or too heated for anything to be done. This shit is different. Back in the day, Republicans disagreed with Democrats about how they wanted the same things done, but they wanted the same things done. It's just the application and how we do it that was different. And now we can't even have those conversations because each side has demonized the other side. And no matter which side you're on, you can't say this person has a good idea. You have to say this person is the devil. This person is trying to do that. They call Joe Biden Brandon, an evil Brandon. Well, I don't even know what the fuck that is. All I know is it's time for us to do different, to be better. Before I go, I want to say we lost two greats, two amazing American citizens, two amazing Black American citizens this month. Ms. Angela Bofill passed away after a lengthy illness. And her voice and her records were the soundtrack of my youth in the clubs and sitting and chilling and just having a good time. And then we also lost the greatest baseball player ever in Willie Mays. People have to understand Willie Mays was a Black man playing after Jackie Robinson, but Willie Mays was arguably, not even arguably, he's considered the greatest overall baseball player there ever was. And if not for 2 years serving in the military during the Korean War conflict, he would have broken and still hold all the records that are out there now. He would have had the home run record. He would have had the base record, the OBS record. He would have had all the Golden Gloves. And he died peacefully week before last. So I salute them. So responding to a listener who's asking about how the president should handle Islamic extremism. Zach, all I can tell you is to call back next week. I'm out of time. You call in next week and we'll talk about it and we'll figure out what your views are and what everyone's views are. The number is 443-267-6558. Call in next week and I'll talk about that with you. I'll give you my thoughts. But again, all I want to say is on all these issues, we've got to find a way to communicate better with each other without being at odds with each other. I'm not Screaming Ass Smith. I'm the Nitelifer. And I ask a question and I want everyone to seriously consider it and give me your thoughts. My question is from the song by the group War. Mr. DJ, play what I'm talking about. It's an old song for us old heads, but we know It's time, y'all. Ain't none of us getting out of this shit alive. So let's stop hating on each other. Let's stop finding ways to be different from each other. Let's work together to make things better. It's all I ask, people. All my listeners, thank you for listening in. I hope to see you next week. Next week, I'm going to sit in this studio. I'm going to have a glass. Have a glass for Rock. Have a glass for me. We're going to drink some wine. And we're going to ask the question. It don't matter your color. It don't matter if you're dark-skinned, light-skinned, if you're Republican, if you're Democrat. We all got bills. We all trying to get along, make a way in this world. I just asked the question. If you can't get on the bus with me, then get out of the way, because we're trying to go forward. Let's find a way, people. Let's find a way. Hey.
Sometimes I don't speak right, but yet I know what I'm talking about.
Respect my shit, I'll respect your shit, and let's get our shit together and make a better world. We gotta leave it better than when we found it. Mr. DJ, thank you. America, thank you for listening in. And as always, this is Yale Beverly, the new Nitelifer in the Circle of Sanity. Hit it!
The Nitelifer, the Night Circle of Sanity, ready to show.
What you got? What you got? Great game show. Great game show.
This is state of emergency.
Hey man, can I get a ride home or do I need to call my ride?
Who this? New phone. Who this?
That was just a yes or no question. Great show, man. You didn't bash truth, but you put the information out there. Good job.
That's all I'm trying to do, man.